and I am now at the Department for Work and Pensions. We've got a few different groups that we're going to have a chat with. So who is here today?
Here we've got Disabled Rebels Network, we've got Disabled People Against the Cuts, Chesterfield people, and also we've got grandparents and elders here today.
What a wonderful group. And tell us what your key point is being here today.
I think I'll pass over to somebody else for that.
Would you like to tell us exactly who you are and what you're doing here today?
Well, I'm from Chesterfield in North East Derbyshire. Our group decided to go for work and pensions due to sort of the climate justice part of it, the green jobs and the transition. And I think what was really good about working with disabled people, the groups, is we've had a strong emphasis on that because actually we need to be united. And we have been today. And I think that's sort of like in action, XR in action, really.
Absolutely. I mean, we've got all different kinds of groups coming together, and it really highlights the kind of justice aspect of what we're talking about, because we can talk about, the climate and ecological emergency in sort of stark terms, but we're really talking about the human terms, because we have a system whereby people who are othered in so many different ways, and disabled people, lots of support there. Disabled people get really othered and not looked after in this current system, and the cuts are really cutting, aren't they?
Yeah. One of the demands that we have is that people with disabilities are factored in to the plans that are being made to counter the effects of the climate emergency. So there's absolutely no account being taken of the needs of disabled people. In Germany, in 2021, disabled people in a care home actually drowned in the floods because there was not emergency planning to ensure that they were looked after in that time. So things are going to get even worse for people with disabilities as the effects of climate change get worse.
Well, that's a really stark story to think about, and really, really heart-wrenching. I'm wondering, Al, could I go to you for a minute and say what it means to you to be here today?
Well, I've been working for the earth all my life. I've been to Greenham Common. I've been part of the environmental movements all of my life. So it's important to be part of this. I've also been doing de-escalation today, which is brings my peace activism into this. And I'm also here now in my work for inclusion. I'm a disabled person. I'm visually impaired. I've suffered discrimination, and I've worked for inclusion all my life. So I'm bringing a lot of different parts of myself together today, which is really nice.
Thank you so much for sharing that with us. And I know you've been doing a lot of work today, so having the time to talk to us is great. Thank you. And it just feels wonderful that the sun has really started to shine on this group who are bringing that part of the climate emergency and the justice emergency that we need to be sure to focus on and talk about. So I want to thank everybody who's here. Is there anybody else who would like to share their story about what they're doing here and why they're here today? Anybody feeling brave? Yeah? Let's pop over here. We've only got about 30 seconds.
That's fine. It's really what I wanted to come to. I've been part of grandparents and elders for years, and basically I just admire them so much. I mean, a person in their 90s who goes out and stands next to something that's been torn down, part of our heritage, the woodlands. I mean, they stand out in the streets saying they care about their children and their grandchildren's future, and they don't feel justified to stand and do nothing. They feel they have to do it. And they're retired people who really ought to be enjoying their own life. And what are they doing? They're going out to support all of those. And again, being privileged people, as we're often accused of being, not just grandparents and elders, as disabled rebels like me. I forgot what I was going to say.
That's okay. That's okay. You're talking about people not always being privileged. There are a lot of people without privilege, I think you were going to say.
Yeah, this is the point. If we can't, as privileged people, look out for those who are underprivileged, who haven't even got a voice, like these Africans who are in villages or the Solomon Islands and out in the Pacific where they're being exploited with nuclear power, as you know all about, probably the Greenpeace going out with the ship that was bombed and somebody lost his life, he was blown up. I mean, it's just so much injustice around the world. It's horrendous. So we've got to speak up. We've got to speak up.
We've got to speak up. Absolutely. Thank you so much. And that's very much what this picket has been about. Something else I think